Have you ever stopped to think about what lies behind the idea that women prefer multiple partners? The answer is far more complex than the simple social perception. In fact, female psychology reveals a fascinating landscape of deep and complex desires that can't just be reduced to notions of infidelity or a search for something easy. Quite the opposite. Women's behavior is multifaceted, like a puzzle of emotions, experiences, and yearnings intertwining in surprising ways. Female desire often goes beyond the traditional idea of having just one partner. It reflects a constant search for self-awareness, new forms of connection, and yes, the freedom to live different experiences. Of course, this idea may sound controversial or counterintuitive, especially when confronted with a cultural norm that glorifies monogamy as the ideal relationship. However, if you're able to open your mind and look beyond established norms, you'll realize that the true answer isn't as simple as it seems. Women don't, in fact, seek something fleeting or superficial. They are on an endless quest for a complete identity, something that transcends the limits of a single partner. And if you're curious to understand what truly drives this search for multiple partners, this text will reveal more than you might imagine. Get ready to challenge your beliefs, better understand the complexities of female behavior, and most importantly, learn something that few have the courage to admit: a woman's multiplicity of desires is her greatest strength. Female psychology is fascinating and full of nuances that often aren't understood at first glance. Every woman is a unique combination of desires, behaviors, and experiences. When trying to understand female behavior, especially in the context of relationships, it's crucial to recognize the complexity of this feminine multiplicity. For instance, female desire isn't a simple thing. It goes beyond physical attraction, touching on deep emotional and psychological aspects as well. A woman's choices and relationships can be influenced by various internal and external factors, like her personal history, social influences, and even the environment around her. However, many fail to understand women, often reducing their behavior to stereotypes or limited expectations. This is a big mistake because female psychology is defined by its multiplicity and depth. Women's behavior often reveals itself in ways that can't easily be categorized. For example, a woman might express interest in and desire for multiple people, while also valuing a stable and secure relationship. These apparent contradictions can be explained by a deep desire to explore different aspects of herself, to connect in multiple ways, and, at the same time, to ensure the emotional stability that many seek in relationships. This desire for multiple experiences doesn't mean that women are more complicated or hard to understand, as many often think. Quite the opposite, it's a reflection of the very human nature of exploring, learning, and evolving. Women's behavior is often shaped by a series of influences that aren't always visible at first glance. For example, when choosing a partner, women might be drawn to different qualities: security, passion, intelligence, humor. Each aspect holds its own importance and is part of a deep desire to connect, experience, and live life to the fullest. However, society imposes a monolithic view of what is considered ideal in a relationship, and many women end up feeling pressured to conform to this standard, often sacrificing their own wants and desires. This social pressure can directly affect how they behave and relate to others, creating a mismatch between what they truly want and what is expected of them. Female psychology, in this case, serves as a tool to understand that the freedom to explore different aspects of one's personality and desires is natural and should be respected. Amid these contradictions and complexities, women, throughout their lives, seek a balance between their emotional, physical, and psychological needs. The secret, however, isn't in understanding each isolated desire but in accepting and respecting this feminine multiplicity. Relationships are just one part of this journey, but they become much more fulfilling when both sides recognize and respect each other's deeper needs and desires. Often, relationships seem to follow a predictable path. They fall in love, commit, live together. But what happens when that trajectory isn't so simple? When we talk about female psychology, we can see that female desire often transcends the limits of a single relationship. Women's behavior is often driven by a series of internal factors, such as the need for emotional connection, the desire to experience new things, or even the simple wish to know themselves better. In many cases, the desire to explore different possibilities is closely tied to the feminine multiplicity, which is essentially a woman's ability to reinvent herself with every new encounter. This desire to explore more of herself, contrary to what many think, is not about infidelity or disinterest in the partner. On the contrary, it's a reflection of the complexity of female desire, which often cannot be reduced to the idea of exclusive attraction. A woman can be in a stable relationship and still feel attracted to other partners, whether out of curiosity, an emotional need, or even intellectual connection. This doesn't mean she doesn't value what she has, but rather that she wants to explore new layers of her identity. In this sense, female behavior is an ongoing quest for self-knowledge and evolution, and relationships are just one way to experience this journey. Female psychology also teaches us that the idea of having only one partner is deeply connected to a traditional concept of monogamy that doesn't meet the needs and desires of all women. This standard can be challenging for many women who seek the freedom to explore different aspects of their personalities without feeling trapped in a single emotional space. When observed more deeply, female desire reveals that every woman is capable of feeling and living out multiple relationships in a way that respects her own boundaries and expectations. This doesn't mean being disloyal, but rather understanding that each person is unique, and their desires don't have to be limited to one form of relationship. For example, a woman may desire intimacy and affection from one partner, but at the same time, want a companion who shares her intellectual passions, or even a lighter, more carefree relationship with someone just for fun. These different dimensions of desire are completely valid and natural, reflecting the various needs and aspects of female behavior. Understanding this shows how relationships can be more fluid, dynamic, and less tied to a single happily ever after stereotype. Therefore, a woman's desire for multiple partners can be an expression of this multiplicity, which isn't confined to one model of relationship. Instead of condemning or labeling, it's necessary to understand the deeper layers of her motivations. Female psychology teaches us that this journey of self-discovery and emotional freedom is not only valid but necessary for personal growth and a broader understanding of human nature. After all, life is made of experiences, and by allowing herself to live out different forms of desire and relationships, a woman finds new ways to connect with what is most profound and authentic within herself. Female desire, contrary to what many believe, is not linear. Female psychology reveals that it manifests in various ways and can express itself differently depending on the stage of life a woman is in, the experiences she's had, and her deepest longings. Often, women have multiple desires that coexist, creating a dynamic of constant change and adaptation in relationships. This can be challenging for those trying to understand these desires in simplistic terms, as women are, by nature, multifaceted and dynamic. However, this multiplicity of desires doesn't mean a woman is indecisive or inconsistent. On the contrary, it reflects the need to connect with different aspects of her identity, whether emotional, physical, or even spiritual. For example, a woman may have a strong desire for stability in a long-term relationship, but at the same time feel an intense need for passion and adventure in another connection. These desires are not conflicting. Rather, they are complementary, as they are deeply rooted in female behavior and the ongoing search for self-knowledge and emotional fulfillment. This search for different forms of desire can be seen as a need to explore new ways of connecting, both with herself and with others. By opening herself up to diverse experiences, a woman can find a balance between seeking stability and the need for novelty. In this aspect, female behavior is a dance between the desire for security and the willingness to explore the unknown. This is not only natural but also essential for personal growth and understanding her emotional needs. Female multiplicity also reflects the way a woman relates to the world around her. Female desire may manifest not only in romantic relationships but also in professional, family, and social relationships. For instance, many women feel the desire to be leaders in their careers while simultaneously seeking to be nurturing caregivers in their families. This diversity of desires and roles is an intrinsic characteristic of female psychology, which is not limited to one role or expectation but constantly adapts to circumstances and feelings. Understanding female multiplicity, therefore, is understanding that desire is not something fixed or unchangeable. It evolves over time, shaped by life experiences, relationships, and self-discovery. A woman who allows herself to live and explore this multiplicity of desires is more likely to achieve a state of emotional balance, where she can feel whole and fulfilled in all her dimensions. By accepting this complexity, she not only enriches her own experiences but also transforms the way she connects with others, creating more authentic and satisfying relationships. In the context of relationships, it's common for women to be challenged in reconciling different aspects of their identity. Female behavior is often influenced by the constant external pressure to fit into predefined molds of the ideal woman. However, female psychology teaches us that this pressure can actually be counterproductive. By trying to be everything for everyone, a woman may end up losing touch with herself, denying her own desires and feelings in favor of others' expectations. This disconnection is often the root cause of the internal and external conflicts that arise within relationships. In many cases, The female desire for authenticity and freedom is silenced by the fear of being judged or misunderstood. In this context, female behavior becomes a reflection of the expectations society imposes, making many women feel trapped in their own lives. For example, a woman may wish to explore new relationships or live experiences outside her comfort zone, but she fears criticism or disapproval. This internal conflict between personal desire and social expectations is a constant struggle many women face. It's important to understand that female multiplicity is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. Women who allow themselves to explore different facets of their behavior, whether in relationships or in their personal lives, are better prepared to face the challenges that arise along the way. Female psychology suggests that by allowing themselves to live according to their own desires and not others, women achieve a deeper level of self-knowledge and satisfaction. This process of self-discovery is crucial for creating more balanced and lasting relationships. For example, a woman who decides to invest time in her own hobbies and passions may discover new dimensions of herself that make her happier and more fulfilled. Rather than following established norms, she begins to understand her own needs and desires, creating a space of freedom within relationships. This freedom is essential for relationships to become deeper and more authentic. A woman who understands her multiplicity doesn't feel obligated to fit into what others expect, but allows herself to be who she truly is, with all her desires, fears, and longings. Therefore, by exploring and accepting female desire, women begin to realize that the freedom to be who they are, without filters or external limitations, is the key to a fuller and more satisfying life. Instead of being bound by social standards, they embrace their own authenticity, allowing their relationships to evolve more naturally and truthfully. This is a fundamental step towards creating more genuine connections and achieving balance between the various parts of themselves. Throughout their lives, many women discover that the desire for multiple partners is not something that should be seen as a mistake, but as a natural expression of female psychology. This search for different connections is, in reality, a reflection of the multiplicity that every woman carries within herself. Female behavior sometimes challenges traditional conventions, but this doesn't mean it should be labeled as inappropriate. On the contrary, understanding that a woman is multifaceted and that her desires can expand beyond a single relationship is crucial to understanding the richness of her experiences. Female desire, when viewed from this perspective, becomes an opportunity for self-knowledge. Women who allow themselves to live various experiences, whether with different partners or in different emotional contexts, often connect with deeper aspects of themselves. Contrary to what many might think, these experiences are not an attempt to escape commitment, but a way to explore one's identity, testing boundaries and discovering new forms of pleasure, connection, and fulfillment. Female multiplicity, in this context, should be seen as a positive characteristic. Female psychology suggests that by allowing themselves to explore multiple aspects of their desires and feelings, women become more whole, more aware of their own needs, and more capable of offering healthier and more balanced relationships. This doesn't mean, of course, that women should engage in relationships recklessly or irresponsibly, but that they have the freedom to experience their emotions and desires without the pressure of limiting themselves to a single relationship format. Society often imposes that female behavior be reduced to a monogamous ideal, but this is not always what works for all women. The freedom to explore different forms of desire may, in fact, be the key to greater authenticity in relationships. By understanding female multiplicity and the desire that comes with it, both men and women can establish more genuine and balanced connections, where every part of the relationship is based on mutual respect for individual needs and desires. Thus, by understanding female desire for multiple partners, we can rethink what it truly means to be happy in a relationship. Happiness does not necessarily lie in having a single partner or a fixed form of love, but in being able to connect with different aspects of oneself and others. Ultimately, female behavior is simply an expression of the pursuit of fulfillment, and understanding this pursuit helps us accept that, sometimes, freedom aligns more with genuine happiness. Have you ever thought about having the woman you want just through text messages? There is a secret that all women keep with them, a mental trigger that activates in their minds when you send specific messages. I teach all of this in an ebook, which I'll leave as a gift in the first pinned comment of this video. It's not free because I put work into creating it, but it's almost free, as the price is absurdly low, cheaper than a snack. Go ahead and grab your gift. Now that you've had a deeper understanding of female desire and the psychology behind choices that may, at first glance, seem unusual or hard to understand, it's time to reflect on what you can do with this knowledge. How can you apply all of this in your life, whether in personal relationships or in the way you view others around you? The woman who understands her own desires, motivations, and the different facets of her personality has a unique advantage: the freedom to be who she is without submitting to external expectations. And the real question is, are you willing to understand this, or will you continue to be stuck in a limited and simplistic view of female behavior? Now is your moment. What can you change in your own relationships? How can you encourage a deeper understanding of female multiplicity and the authentic desires of those you love? If you are ready to dive deeper, to truly transform your perception and increase the quality of your relationships, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. We are just beginning to explore this fascinating universe. Don't miss the next reflections that could transform not only your life but the way you interact with others. Let's embark on this journey of self-discovery and freedom together. And have you imagined becoming irresistible just by using psychology to your advantage? There is a way to put this into practice very simply, but that's a topic for another video. The good news is that I've already recorded it, and it's right here on your screen. Click there, and I'll see you there.